agaspotami, I think, or potomy.
Agaspotami.
There we go. Yeah, it's hard to figure out what vowels to enunciate.
Wasn't it the one where Greece, Athens was like being lazy and
Yes. Big, like you can find it's like advice in all of these, right? So, hey folks, it is October the 22nd, and we're going over the last half of chapter 16. We are not going to have a video or a lecture tomorrow. So I'm going to post something for you that the in-class kids are going to do as well. It's going to have to do with a bit of a reading assignment. No. We are going to have a vocabulary quiz next week, probably on Thursday. But I'll let you on Monday.
Are you going to have a Quizlet?
Yeah, I do. All of my Quizlets are already made. You can go in and check them out.
Oh, really?
Like, I would recommend you just study up to chapter 16, like where we're at, because I'm sure the Quizlet. Yeah, because it's more than likely the range I'm going to pick is probably anywhere from like chapters 13 to 16. Somewhere in between that is where I'm going to pick the quiz terms. I'll let you know Monday, because that's when I'll put it together and make the quizzes the way I like them. Yeah, you don't have to go back that far. I'd say 13.
Chapter 13.
Yeah, chapter 13 to 16. All right, folks, the terms we have on the board are Alcibiades returned to Athens. Why did Athens tire of him? Him is in Alcibiades. Lysander, the Spartan general. Battle of Agaspotami. Ugh. And the end of the war. So,
does A-E like I sound or A?
No, it doesn't when you're reading Greek words. It's more like an A sound.
So Agaspotami.
Yeah. And like now in classic Latin, yeah, that makes a diphthong.
Yeah, like who would have got it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're learning Golden Age pronunciations of Latin, like from the time of Augustus. If you but if you like, let's say there's a church here in Tyler that does the old school Catholic Latin Mass, right? And they use the same language, but it's pronounced differently. It's called it's like Church Latin, right? And so instead of the AE making the I sound, it makes just an ah sound. So it's a little.
Latin words looks like just random letters from the alphabet, just like smushed together.
It looks that way, but the thing is, if you compare it to like a lot of languages from Europe, Latin makes more sense than English.
Like, have you seen Dutch?
Oh yeah, we're close. Yeah, well, it's.
The Dutch really looks like a bunch of letters just strung together.
I've heard in some Scandinavian countries, the language can get so complicated that people from one town don't understand the next town, even though it's the same language. So it's just like crazy. So, but yeah, English used to be like Latin back when it was more Celtic. It used to you'd have to change the suffixes and the prefixes to change the word. The vowels would have connections to the nouns and stuff. Like
Now our generation.
yeah, not now. Now it's just about word order. We just mix it, match it in the sentence, not the word. Huh? Okay. Hey, so let me show you my terms for the day. Or not my terms, my images. It's like nothing too crazy today. All right, so just show you the map again. So there's Athens, there's Sparta. Where this last battle is going to be is on the Hellespont. And so remember, they said that the Athenians were camped on the European side. So that's the northern part. And the Spartans and their Persian allies were camped on the Asian side, or the Asiatic side. It's here on modern-day Turkey. So the battles could be in this general area at a place called Agaspotami. And that's where Athens is going to have its entire navy wiped out. And they're going to put to death every single one of the prisoners. Athens will have, remember, they've already lost all of their forces at first at Sicily. So anybody they had left, including exiles that they called back to the country, they put to work for a second army and navy. And now they're all put to death. And Alcibiades was warning them, don't do it, don't do it. But they did it. I put this here because this chapter mentioned Aeobia. And so Aeobia is this island here. This came out in the Persian Wars because around here's Thermopylae, and the Persian Navy was trying to sail around this side. They had the battle with the Athenians before they had their last battle here.
Of course.
This is supposed to be an artist interpretation of Lysander, the Spartan general. And yeah, that's the thing. Like sometimes Spartans
Very
win.
naked.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, luckily he's wearing a loincloth.
Are they bodybuilders?
Literally from any other angle besides like this one, he'd be naked.
I'm pretty sure they were fit, but they probably weren't that muscular.
That
I mean,
looks
their
like he's on
diet was
steroids.
trash.
He looks like he's on drugs.
They look at little bitty arms.
Right arm.
Well, in
Yeah,
any
so
case,
he's just pretty like extended, wide.
okay, so the artist likes to make people look buff. I get it. But
His
Look
left
at his
wing.
shh. I've been trying to
Where's
like.
his
I've been
hair?
trying to get y'all to be quiet politely. So take a hint. Okay. So yeah, I get it. So there's some problems with the image, but in any case, yeah, sometimes Spartans did go to battle without armor. They just went in with loincloths and stuff. So it's because they trusted their shields, and especially like if you're fighting off a boat, like as a marine, the last thing you want to do is have armor weigh you down because you drown. And that really stinks. Even like swimming with like the wrong shoes on is very hard. So like wearing stuff that weighs you down, like bronze or like thick linen that would get wet, like really nasty, that would be a tough thing to do. So the battle is going to be a total loss for the Athenians. So yeah, like y'all mentioned, Athens is going to get complacent. They're going to challenge the Spartans and the Persians into battle. They don't show up, and so eventually they're just kind of like resting on the shore, and then they rest on the shore.
And then
And
they
then-
show up with a bunch of people and they're like,
Yes.
um,
And some of them were off going to a town to go visit a town. And so when they came back, they found many of their boats were on fire. Only like less than a dozen got away. And 4,000 men were put to death. They took no prisoners. The war, remember, civil wars are very nasty. And both sides, Sparta and Athens, have shown that they're very cruel when they win. We're going to see, however, that Sparta's not going to do all that well. A lot of what made Sparta a strong city-state, a strong polis, is going to be in many ways corrupted by their entanglements with the Persians. Persia is going to infuse them with wealth, and this is going to lead to a lot of scandals later on, we're going to see. So, but yeah, folks, remember, if I'm like, kind of like, if I ask one person to be quiet, I'm kind of asking everybody to be quiet. And it's not because I don't want you to talk, it's because you're all talking over one another. And I'm like, I was like, I hope your Thanksgiving isn't like that. Everybody's trying to talk over each other. So, all right. In any case, let's go ahead and let's get our terms to the board. So, Alcibiades returns to Athens. So, so when he returns, how do they treat him? Are they trying?
pretty well.
He's like the hero, right? They're like welcoming him. So they forgot all those nasty things he did, like betraying everyone and making all these Athenians die. So he came back to home a hero. Now it gets a little complicated, but remember, he comes back and he gives a speech. And when he gives a speech, he makes it sound like it's their fault that he caused all this trouble.
And they're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like, I forgive you for all these things that you've done to me. And so that's really smart on one side. On the other side, it shows the guy is like, he's an egomaniac. It's all about him. He doesn't care about anybody.
Well, they did kind of blame him for something that he didn't.
He was really like the first politician.
Maybe. But he still, instead of just fleeing, he fled and then he betrayed them, remember? So He is like, you've hurt my honor, therefore I'm going to have thousands of you killed. So it's a little disproportional, just a little bit, I'd say. But also, we're going to see that, like next year, we're going to see that to the people of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, this is going to be why they're going to be so anti-democratic. Because they're like, look, you have crazy people like Alcibiades doing these things, and the Athenian democracy welcomed him home. And that they even accepted him lashing out at them. But of course, we see they're going to turn on him again because it's so chaotic. It's just going all over the place. They can't make their minds up. They're chasing a powerful person. It's a popularity contest. So he makes his speech and he gets on to them, but he forgives them because he's just so benign. And then he separates from the army. And while he separates from the army, what does he do in Athens? He's trying to fix things with the Eleusinian mysteries, right? Because they were like, hey, you messed up a sacred festival. And so what does he do to try to make it good with the religious people? Yeah, he does. He acts as like the high priest for one of their rituals. And so they have a sacrifice, much like the kind that you've read in the Iliad. And they have some like fancy dances and feast and all these things. They're like, wow, he's pretty good at this whole goat killing thing. And so they forgive him on the religious matters, but his general that he put in charge while he was away made a mistake. What was that?
Decided to attack when he's like,
Yes.
don't attack while I'm gone, okay?
Yes. But his general.
And then his general blames him for it.
Yes.
The one time he doesn't mess something up, he gets blamed.
But he lost a battle. So everybody's out for themselves. Well, you could understand why the general do that, because if the democracy gets mad at you, they kill you. So, of course, there's a lot of violence going on anyways against Spartans. Against Alcibiades' advice. So yes, it was against Sparta.
You saw that right?
Maybe. So Athens blamed him and he fled. Oh man. That's supposed to be the part down here. So why did Athens tire of him? It's because of this up here.
And yeah,
Yeah, he lost a battle against Alcibiades' advice because Alcibiades told him not to fight. Yeah, so they blamed Alcibiades, like I just said up there. So even though, he didn't have anything to do with it. So that's the thing that's messed up. Remember I told you yesterday, Alcibiades represents Athens. He's all about himself. He betrays everyone. He uses people. Athens is doing the same thing. So the best Athenian is doing just like what the Athenian state does. So it's the brightest, it's the most powerful, it's the most self-destructive too. So you have all of these things and it all comes down to a lack of moral founding. It's all about trying to serve its own desires, but not trying to do anything to a higher cause or a higher purpose. It has none of the virtue that Socrates said that it should have. It only had self-fulfilling vice. They could always explain away their problems and explain why they should do the things they just want to. It goes back to license we were talking about earlier. So we kind of accidentally did that together. But yeah, when he returns, he's going to be a hero at first. They're going to love him, and then they're going to hate him. And so, moving on from there. So, where does he go after this? Athens? No, I mean, Alcibiades is going to go and he's going to make his own
Oh, yeah.
castle. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still super rich. So he's going to take his wealth. He's going to have a castle built on the sea, and then he's going to start recruiting men to make an army because he's planning on taking over a city and becoming a king. Right?
Then he dies. So.
Well, he will die. He will die. But before that, he's going to try to save Athens one more time because he's still a little homesick. But that's going to bring in this guy. Who's Lysander?
Spartan general.
Yeah, Spartan general. And who does he befriend?
I don't know.
Yeah. Uses the aid of the Persians. And this is going to be part of the downfall for Sparta later. Because, yes, the Persians want to help Sparta defeat Athens. But what the Spartans are too short-sighted to realize is that the Persians also want to ruin them as well. They just want Sparta to get rid of Athens first to make it easier to take out Sparta later. So all of this it's almost comical. Everybody's making short-sighted mistakes. Alcibiades keeps making short-sighted mistakes. Athens makes short-sighted mistakes by getting rid of their best generals and by constantly not accepting peace whenever they have a victory. Sparta accepts the aid of their enemies, very short-sighted. So, not a lot of wisdom going on here. All right, so the Battle of Agaspotami. That word. All right, so who was this battle against?
It was Athens versus Sparta and Persia.
Yeah, Athens versus Sparta and Persia. So, what caused Athens to have a problem? They constantly went out and did what?
They were like, fight me, and you're like, no.
Yeah, they would challenge Sparta. We're just going to say Sparta, but we mean over and over to no effect. And so, what would Athens start to do once they were being ignored?
Yeah, bored.
Yeah, well, they got bored. So Athens, they'd like take siestas. They just start taking naps at land. Athens would grow complacent. And then what happened next?
They actually came. Came.
Yeah, one day after they realized their enemies were totally not protected, they didn't have guards watching their ships. The troops were out of their armor. Many of them were too busy doing things like sleeping and drinking, not battle ready. And so before they knew it, the enemy was already on them. You're going to see something like this happen in, if you might remember, the Santa Anna in the Texas Revolution. He's so sure. The last battle, the battle of Jacinto.
Oh, yeah.
San Jacinto.
Yeah. So remember, like you had the Great Strait. Sam Houston was fleeing, and Santa Anna was chasing them. And Santa Anna thought that he had them on the run. He's going to run them all the way out of Texas. And so, yeah, they're just like taking a nap. The troops are there, got their shoes off, and all this other stuff.
But then they
Ambush.
night.
Yes, ambush. And this is the same thing. So this is why when people study this stuff, you see that it can happen again. So then Sparta,
Just like in the hut. gates at the mountain trail. They were just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Just walked up on them and be like, hey,
Oh, wait.
how's it going? You're dead.
It's a yellow.
So they raided them and executed the Athenians. A raid's not a right word, but I used it. A raid is military terms. It's when you attack an enemy and then you just withdraw very quickly. So it's just do a little bit of damage and just get out of there before they can react. So this is just full on assault, and they just took the enemy. So that's all right. Forgive me. All right. So the end of the war. So what then happens to like Athens? Some people want to do something like really, really hard to them. I know what's that.
Kill everyone.
Yeah. So like
Sell everyone as slaves.
yeah, some of the countries like Thebes and Boeotia, Thebes
Take your toes.
wanted to decimate Athens. Sparta decided something else.
What's that first one?
Take down their wall and leave them basically defenseless.
Thebes. Yeah,
Thieves or Thebes?
Thebes, like Thebes. It's a city we'll talk about next week. Decided to tear down their walls, the big, beautiful walls. Reduce their navy. And last but not least, what about the government?
Take over their government.
Yeah, control their government. That's what we're going to talk about Monday. We'll call it the 30 Tyrants. It's going to be an oligarchy. An oligarchy run by a foreign country, which that's like every country's nightmare. All right, so yeah. So the war is now over. Athens will never be a great power again. This is going to be the downfall of Sparta as well. It's going to make a power vacuum. And that power vacuum is going to be filled for a little while by Thebes, who is going to totally crush Sparta later. And then it's going to be still unstable. So that's when you're going to have the Macedonians come in and take over most of the known world. And so we're going to end there. Just keep in mind, no lecture video tomorrow. We'll post a reading assignment for you tomorrow. So keep a lookout for that. And see you again Monday.
Post it.
Yes, sir. Check that message.